everybody, welcome to my channel. My name's Mel. Thank you so much for joining me today for the quarter year crisis tag and a little bit of a quarterly catch up. So I was going to do a quarterly catch up video and talk through how I'm going with my goals and my reading, etc, etc. But then I saw Paige from Pages with Paige do the quarter year crisis book tag, which is a tag that I had not seen before, and it turns out that is because it was relatively recently created by Roshin from Roshin's Reading. I will link her channel in the description below. I've started watching quite a bit of her videos and really enjoying them. So thank you so much, Paige, for inspiring me to do the tag and for Roshin for creating the tag. And yeah, I decided to do this as a quarterly catch-up because it essentially asks you questions that would have been what I was going to talk about myself in a quarterly catch-up anyway, and I just really enjoy tags. I think that it's a great way of discovering more about each other. If there's anything that I specifically wanted to discuss that isn't talked about in the tag, then I'll do so at the end of the video. Finally, my computer has all the information that I have worked out for the tag, so when I'm looking down, that's why. Anyway, let's do the tag, shall we? So, question number 1 is, how many books have you read so far? According to Goodreads, I have read 20 books so far, which unfortunately, according to Goodreads, means I'm 1 book behind schedule. I'm not too concerned about this. I think that I'm still on track to get to my 80 books for the year, so yeah, I'm pretty happy with that one. So yeah, the answer to that is 20. So then it says, have you already found a book you think might be a 2022 favourite? If not, what was your favourite book that you have read that hasn't quite been a 5-star but is still a favourite? So I use Cawpile as a way of figuring out my ratings, which, if you didn't know, Cawpile is a rating system that was created by G from Book Roast. I will link her video where she talks about it. I think she's made quite a few changes for this year, so I'll link that video if I can find it. Otherwise, I will link her channel in the description below so you can go and check out G's channel, subscribe, and find Cawpile if you're interested in Cawpile. So Cawpile stands for characters, action, writing style, plot, intrigue, I can't remember what, logic, internal logic of the story, and enjoyment. I have actually changed it slightly for myself for the year because I realized that it wasn't 100% how I think about things. So I've changed it to an acronym UCAPE, which is way less fun to say, but that is meaning that I then have enjoyment for the beginning of the book and enjoyment for the end of the book as 2 different sections, because sometimes you love a book to begin with and then it gets a bit boring, or you start out thinking, oh, I'm not sure, and then you love it towards the end. So that's why I've done that. Also, I have done plot and pacing because I find the pacing of the book does also influence my rating. Anyway, so Cawpile or UCAPE is a scale out of 10, but then on her spreadsheet, G has done some formulas that mean that the spreadsheet works out the star rating out of 5. Anyway, so according to Cawpile, my favourite book of the year so far was Feet of Clay by Terry Pratchett. So this is one of the books in the Watch series, which is one of the series in the Discworld series by Terry Pratchett. It is a fantasy. I absolutely love this series. I've read don't think I've read all, but I've read most of the Discworld series now. I've definitely read the Watch series before. Absolutely love it. Feet of Clay was the most recent one that we are reading as part of the Tearing Through Time, which is a read-along hosted by Paige from Pages with Paige and a bunch of other people who I will list below. I'm reading it with Paige as the Watch to begin with, and yeah. So according to Cawpile, that is my favourite. That's the one I've given the highest rating. But there are 2 books that I have, obviously I couldn't say I've enjoyed them more, but have really stayed with me, that are kind of fighting it out with Feet of Clay. So The first one of those is The Dictionary of Lost Words by Pip Williams. This is historical fiction about the creation of the Oxford English Dictionary. It's feminist, it's fantastic, it's so well written, it's amazing. I loved it. And the other one is Muse of Nightmares by Laini Taylor. So this is the second book in the Strange the Dreamer duology, and I absolutely loved it. I love her writing style. It's so whimsical, so much going on. Her imagination just blows my mind. Where she went with the end of the series just blows my mind. Everything how it worked out was incredible. Absolutely loved it. So those three are kind of duking it out for favourite book of the year so far. Then the next question is any 1-star books / least favourite book of the year. I don't have any 1-star books, which is fantastic, although I do have a couple of books that I have DNF'd. So the one that I DNF'd that I didn't like, just didn't like, rather than needing to put on hold for whatever reason, was Death Row by Michelle Lyons, and it has a subtitle that I can't remember, but I'll put it up here on the screen anyway so you can see. But it is a non-fiction and it is about stories of people on death row. It was mostly the writing style that I didn't like about this one, although some of the political views of the author I was a bit iffy on as well, but mostly it was the writing style that I didn't really appreciate. So I'll say that one's my least favourite, although I didn't finish it, so whether or not, I guess the answer depends on whether you consider a DNF to be something you can answer, but anyway, that's what I'm going with. The next question is my most read genre for the year so far. Unsurprisingly, the answer to that is fantasy. I will put up the graphic with all of the genres that Corpile figures out for you, but basically I have read 10 fantasy, so 10 of 20, obviously half is fantasy, 2 contemporaries, 1 romance, 3 sci-fis, 1 crime, and 2 historical fiction. So yeah. Next question is a book that surprised you. For this one, I'm going again with Muse of Nightmares. I was really surprised by where she went with the story. I really wasn't expecting the answer to what had been going on to be what it was. It was so much darker than I was expecting as well. I thought it was amazing. I thought it was done really well, but yeah, I was surprised by where she went with it and how dark it went. Next question is a book that has come out already in 2022 that you haven't read yet. You guys know, if you know me, that I'm not really a person that keeps up with new releases. The only reason I find out usually about new releases is because of you guys and the people that I follow on BookTube. So I tend to be a person who doesn't necessarily realize what's coming out when. I tend to just kind of go to bookstores and be like, oh, that looks fun, and not necessarily register that it's new or anything like that. However, I do actually have 2 answers to this question. So the first one, I have the book, and it is right here, so I will show you. And that is, again, Rachel by Marian Keyes. This was sent to me by my best friend Rachel. Thank you so much. And it is a follow-on from the book Rachel's Holiday, which was written, I don't know, like 25 years ago. And it is about Rachel Walsh, who in Rachel's Holiday struggled with addiction. This is, I think, 25 years later. And what happened to Rachel, how she went, etc. So I really want to read this one. I really enjoyed Rachel's Holiday. Really like Marian Keyes as an author, so very excited to read this one. And the other book that I don't have is Gallant by V.E. Schwab. The only book that I've ever read that V.E. Schwab has written is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I know that The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue is quite different from the rest of their works, so I don't know whether I will love Gallant as much as I loved Addie LaRue, but all the other books sound like the kind of things that I'd be potentially quite interested in, and Gallant does actually sound like it's a bit more similar to Addie than the rest. So yeah. Plus, people have been talking about it a lot recently. It was in, it was in, I think, the Illumicrate. I don't get Illumicrate or Fairy Loot, but I like watching the unboxings, and it was in, I think, the Illumicrate box recently. I think it's had other special editions as well. So I've been hearing that a lot recently and it sounds amazing. So those 2 books. Okay, then we get a bit more into goals. So the next question is 1 goal you made that you're succeeding at. So I'm actually going to show you my game board for my goals stats game. So one of my most important goal for me for my reading this year is that I want to read books that were written by a person of colour, so BIPOC, Black, Indigenous person of colour, and a book that features LGBTQIA+ representation. I can read a book that does both, but have to read at least one book for both, or one book that does both each month. And so far, I have done that. Now, we are talking about January, February, and March, so 3 months I've read a book for each. So, and some of those, 2 of those were the same. So, although I'm technically doing well with that challenge, with that goal, I'm not necessarily going to say I'm doing outstanding with that goal, but I'm meeting it so far. So I'm happy with that, although I could stand to improve. So yeah, that's my answer there. That was me hitting my light with that board. Sorry. The next question is one goal that you've made that you need to focus on a bit more. So I would say that, like I just said, I can always stand to improve even when I'm meeting a goal. So the goal mentioned before. But the other one is that audiobooks was something that I wanted to read a little bit more of this year, and I really haven't done that. I did read one book, partly on audio, partly physically, last month. But, I mean, when you read a third of the book, can you really even count it as having listened to an audiobook? Probably not. So, yeah, I'd like to branch out a little bit more and read some more audiobooks. Also, with my graphic novel manga, I have been doing okay on the graphic novel, but not amazing. But I also haven't read any manga. Having said that, though, I'm still very much a newbie when it comes to reading graphic novels, manga, so I think manga might be a little bit advanced for me where I currently am. So I'll just focus on graphic novels for the moment, but yeah, I'd like to improve that a little bit as well. And then there was also the goal of trying to read poetry / books written in verse, and I haven't read any poetry or books written in verse. That wasn't a huge goal, more something I wanted to try and think about doing, do a little bit of, but I haven't done any, so some would be good. And then the final question, and this is not a goal of mine specifically, but I do really appreciate that it's included here. The final question is to talk about some new bookstagrammers or booktokers that I have found in 2022 that I would recommend. So I actually have quite a big list here. So the first one is the person that created this tag, Rosen. As I said before, I've been watching a few of her videos and really enjoying them, so I would recommend that you go and check out her channel and subscribe, watch some videos. Then we have Reading with Merb. I actually think I may have subscribed to Merb's channel at the end of 2021, but I've been watching a lot of her content recently, so I'm going to count her as discovered in 2022. She's a fellow Australian booktuber. I think she's fantastic. She definitely deserves way more subscribers than she has, so you should 100% go and check out her channel. Then we have Liv from Endless Pages. This is someone who I may potentially have found at the very end of 2021 as well, but I've been getting more into watching her content in the last couple of months. Really enjoying her content. Also a fellow Australian. You'll see a bit of a theme here. Really lovely person again, and yeah, you should definitely go and check out her channel as well. All these people are listed below. Then we have Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy. Now Cassidy's a fairly big booktuber, so I'm sure that a lot of people know who she is, but she is a person who I discovered quite recently as well, and she is running Realmathon this month in April. But anyway, I will link her channel below. Realmathon is really fun, so make sure you go and check out the announcement video. Even if it's over by the time you see this, check it out for the next time around, because it's a really fun readathon, and yeah, I'm really enjoying her content. She reads a lot of fantasy, and I think that she's pretty great, so you should go and check her out as well. Then we have Bear McKay. I think I'm pronouncing the channel name correctly. So this is a person who I discovered through Veda, which is what I'm doing this for. So I'm doing Veda in the month of April, and there's a Discord and there's quite a lot of different people, and I discovered Bear's channel and have been watching quite a lot of content in the last week and really enjoying it. She has a lot of really interesting discussion videos, so I really recommend that you go and check out her channel as well. And then finally is Denise from Adventures in the Enchanted Forest, another person I met who I came across because of Veda. I have been really enjoying her channel as well. She reads a lot of fantasy, a lot of middle grade, and that's something I'm really interested in myself, so I've been enjoying her content about those things, but in general as well. So those are all the people that I've discovered really recently in the last couple of months who I think that you should go and subscribe to. In terms of my goals, I actually feel like, let me just get my journal, but I actually feel like I have answered a lot of what I was going to talk about anyway, but let me just bring up my goals page in my journal if I can find it. So, in my goals for reading and my channel. For the channel, I had one of my goals was to run my Roll of Reads readathon, which I did do in the month of March. It will be back next March, hopefully, fingers crossed, all going according to plan. So if you're new to my channel, if you missed out on the Roll of Reads, then keep your eyes peeled next March. It is a readathon based on my Roll of Reads game that I play every single month, and I will list the playlist for that in the description below so you can go and check that out. But yeah, I ran a readathon that was all about playing my game with me, and it was really, really fun. I did a lot of reading sprints throughout the month, which brings me to one of my other goals for the channel, which was to have regular live streams, mostly reading sprints, which I did in the month of March, but I have been doing in general and really enjoying them. I really, really love doing the sprints. When I first started doing them, I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know, we'll give it a try. Didn't think I would love it as much as I do, but it's so much fun. Fantastic to have people both on camera and in the comments join me and chat with me, read books with me. It's just a lot of fun. So please come along and join me if you haven't before or have done but haven't, just in general. Please come and join me. They're really, really fun. I started playing my stats game that I just showed you before this year and have been playing it throughout the month and enjoying that. Then I had for myself to try not to worry about my subscriber count, which I'm failing at, because my channel has been going up, having that period of going up and down a lot recently, and I have to say that that does get to me a bit, because you can have quite a bit of growth and then suddenly you'll stop and won't move at all, and then it'll go up and down all over the place, and yeah, it does get to me. But recently I hit a mini milestone of 750 subscribers, which I'm super excited about, and I am going to be filming my questions, my Q&A as a celebration, which will go up at the end of this month. So if you have any questions for me, bookish or otherwise, please comment below or over on Twitter or on the community tab, because I did put an announcement up on the community tab as well, so I can answer your questions to celebrate hitting 750 subscribers. Massive thank you to all those people who have subscribed and watch my content. You're amazing. So that is for channel goals. As far as reading goals is concerned, I've already talked about my 80 books. I want to read more diversely, so that's what BIPOC LGBTQIA+ is about. I do also have some other specific things like neurodiverse, mental physical health, Australian Aboriginal author, translated into English from another language, which will help me to diversify even further. Buddy reads, I have been doing a few buddy reads. I've got some more coming up next month, so I'm excited about that one. I really enjoy buddy reads, so that was why I included it, and yeah, doing quite well there. The Last to Read book club I have down here, and that basically just means continue with Last to Read book club. So I don't know if I even mentioned this. So the Last to Read book club is a book club that I run with my really amazing booktube friends, Ellie from Earl Grey Books and Lana from Lore and Lullabies. We read a book a month and we chat about it a lot on Discord. Also, we occasionally have live shows. So if you'd like to join us, I would absolutely love that. The book for April is Neverwhere. I don't know, I can't remember when I've decided to put this up, so I don't know if you'll have enough time to join us for April, but the book for May is Rosewater, so if you'd like to join us for May, then obviously please do. The details for all of that are down below as well. Details for all the things that I talk about are down below. I also have another book club that I run in real life. It started out as the Book into Film Club, so we would read a book and then watch an adaptation. We've changed that a little bit, partly because of the situation with COVID, and partly because we felt like we'd kind of we'd done that for like 2 years. so we thought we'd change it a little bit, but it is continuing. It will be every 2 months rather than every month, and yeah, it's still going really well. Everyone's having a great time, so I'm happy with where that's going. So yeah, that is everything that I wanted to catch you guys up on for my reading, for my channel goals, all those really great questions for the tag. So thank you so much to Rosin for this fantastic tag. If you have any comments about any of the questions, any of my answers, please comment below and let me know. If you would like to leave me a comment but you don't know what, then leave me a goal post or net emoji. All of my social media details are listed in the description below, so if you'd like to go and follow me on any of those other platforms, please feel free to do so. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I would absolutely love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, like I said, thank you so much for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.